Hello everyone, Eldon Yoder here. It's time for episode number 8 of Conversations with Yoders Farm. Lowell's here with me again this evening. We are sitting on the back of the place. A couple of Lowell's children are fishing, and we're sitting here at a picnic table. So if you hear any noises in the background, it might be nature or it might be one of Lowell's children.
Actually, I see one of my honeybees flying around here.
Sure enough. The main things we want to talk about this evening is a quick update of what's been going on around the farm the last couple of weeks, kind of what's on our minds here at the end of July, and then we may talk a little bit about weather, which that could fit into the what's on our minds category. So you want to just give us kind of an overview of what we've been up to the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so fall is definitely on our minds. We are about 2 months away from our fall season. So we have pumpkins planted. We are working with them. I was doing some weeding and so forth in those fields the last few days. We can talk about this a little bit later in the podcast. We're working at irrigating, so I pulled a bunch of drip tape into those fields and irrigation lines so we could get water to them. We are also, thinking fall. Our corn maze is planted, and I believe you will be working at cutting that out this weekend.
It's supposed to be.
Hopefully. Or
kind of need to be. It's getting to the point where...
At least starting that process. So even though we're 2 months from fall, or from opening our fall season, it's very much on our minds, and we're working towards that end.
Yeah, it's kind of a complicated time of year because not only are we getting ready for the fall season, but we're also having to think about next year's strawberry season already because a lot of stuff happens between now and mid-October in preparation for next spring. So we've last couple of weeks have also been working at pulling up the old strawberry hills, getting that plastic wound up out of the field, and then we're tilling, working the land, getting ready to make new beds. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, depending on moisture and weather and everything, but we're starting that process. Yeah, the better we can get the dirt to behave, the nicer our beds can be, and hopefully the better the plastic will lift next year.
Well, it all works together. The better the beds you have, the better production you get, and so forth.
Yep.
And we are winding down our greenhouse, our tomatoes in the greenhouse. We actually have tomatoes in every greenhouse right now, but we're going to start cleaning out here probably within a week. And so we're winding that down. We have new tomatoes planted, little tomatoes that will go into
a couple inches tall at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
They're within 2 weeks of being planted
transplanted
into one of the greenhouses, but first we have to clean it out and get it sanitized and cleaned up and ready for another season. So there's maybe not the quite the pressures that we have in the spring or the fall when we're more open to the public, but there's still plenty to do and still lots to keep us busy.
Anyway. The farm store is open right now. Once the tomatoes are completed, we generally kind of shut down for a couple of months till the fall season. So we're probably a couple of weeks away from that. Beyond that, it seems like we're open most of the rest of the year. Is that almost true?
It seems like we used to give a little bit more of a break in the summer, but our summer season is going longer and longer as we take our greenhouses longer, it seems like, and then we're also trying to get an earlier start in the fall. So really there's very little downtime, and but you need to take advantage of this time to, like we talked about earlier, trying to always work a little bit ahead and seeing what's coming down the road and getting ready for that.
Yep.
So that's what we have been up to.
Is this a good time to transition to talk about weather a little bit?
Yeah, so tonight, what is today? The 25th? Yeah.
Yep.
So
July.
It's a beautiful evening. The temperatures have just been gorgeous the last couple of days.
What is it right now?
It's in the low 80s, but the humidity is nice, and it's been just Very, very nice. Last week was brutal.
Yeah.
We had that really warm stretch, and we had upper 90s. And of great concern to us was the lack of rainfall. We had, there were storms in the area, but we had almost nothing last week. We had maybe 1/10 of an inch one evening, and
we continually had storms that were headed our way, but it seemed like they would always go just north of us or just south of us. We might get a decent sprinkle out of the deal, but never, a good hard or soft rainfall.
Yeah, and so, you hear farmers talk about the weather a lot, and maybe you get tired of that or whatever. It's just, the fact of the matter is that what we do is just very much tied to weather. It just is.
Yeah.
And, everyone's lives to some extent is tied to weather. I mean, it affects everyone. But when your actual paycheck or your,
it ends up making
the bank account depends on whether it rains or not. I guess that just makes you look at weather in a little different way.
If our corn mains doesn't grow very well, that affects things. If our pumpkins don't grow well, that affects things.
Or we have almost 100 acres of soybeans, and they were really ready for a drink of water.
Mm-hmm.
And, so then as that hot spell broke, on last Sunday, we had an inch of rain.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, we had just a beautiful, gentle rain, 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
And that was a real blessing, and it really changed.
Yeah, we were literally starting to get nervous about the corn maze, and this kind of, it made us feel better.
Yeah, so we got a bunch of rain. The temperatures have cooled off, so we're in good shape for a while. Of course, we're still in July, and things can change. But anyway, that'll get us running for a while. So anyway, just thought maybe people would find our worry and angst about the weather.
But don't worry, if we have a picnic planned in an evening and it rains, that bums us out too. It's not. We maybe just have a little different perspective.
On a large scale, we can't control the weather. And so a good portion of our crops that we grow, for example, the soybeans, we can't irrigate that. We're just not set up to do that.
Our fields are shaped weird. We don't have water sources.
Yeah, and it would be very expensive.
Yeah. There's just many reasons we don't irrigate.
So we try to some things we can irrigate, especially our higher value crops like our strawberries. Obviously, you can't grow them without irrigation. Most of our pumpkins we irrigate. We have some on plastic. We have some just out in the field, but like I mentioned earlier, we can pull drip tape and we can get it set up to water. Now we do have a small field that is not. Where I probably won't irrigate that one, but it's in a little bit more of a low-lying area, and I think they'll do okay, hopefully, without it, as long as it keeps raining.
Yeah, they seem to be doing okay so
the
far.
corn maze, we have talked about trying to get set up to irrigate that, but our water supply is slightly limited, and it would probably stretch us some to be able to do that. So kind of our philosophy is we try to diversify some. We have some crops that we can irrigate, but then we also try to have crops that we can control quite a bit more. One example of that would be, that's why we grow greenhouse tomatoes. Mm-hmm. We're dealing with a more controlled environment. Mm-hmm. You can water and you have control mostly over the temperature.
Yeah. Hot days still get hot in there.
Yeah, but it's much more of a moderate kind of thing. And, you're dealing with cold in the winter, but you can keep it above freezing or in the 40s, and you can keep everything happy in there. So I guess, that's kind of our approach to weather. We do what we can, and I'll try to mitigate our risks and diversify, and at the end of the day, we just
trust the Lord to send us what we need, I guess.
Yeah, work try to
Or
work
we
through
try to
things
trust.
as best we can.
Yeah. Very good. Well, I guess we can go ahead and wrap this one up, unless you have some other things you'd like to.
No, I think next time, hopefully, we can get into something a little different. I thought we might talk about strawberry propagation next time. I'm supposed to be getting my new little strawberry tips probably next week from Prince Edward Island, so we can talk about how we grow the little plants. We'll have more things coming down the pipe.
Very good. Well, that will do it for this episode. As always, if you're interested in subscribing to the podcast or listening to other episodes, you can head over to yodersfarm.com/podcasts. You'll find links to everything there. And without any further ado, I guess we will see you in 2 weeks.